What is going on with y'all, man? It's your boy Blue Jay Tay, and I am back again with another video. It's an amazing day, and I really wanted to get on here today and speak to y'all about a couple of the habits that changed my life when I learned how to implement them. And a couple of these habits are slightly different. It's not always just as far as your routine, but the first one that I want to get into is doing what others do not do. And as crazy as that may sound, man, you got to think about it. Societal norms has placed this, let's just say, stigma on what's right and wrong. And a lot of people just genuinely follow trends. A lot of people do what majority of others are doing. So if it's popular to do something, or if people realize that they may get glorified from being in a certain category, then this is what majority of people are going to do. Just think about when we may have been in high school and your friends, starting at a young age, they may have smoked or they may have drank, and they only did it probably because they saw their friends doing it or they saw the popular people doing it. So just putting themselves in a position to follow after the next person. So one thing that I've adapted and added into my life is just doing what other people do not do, because for some odd reason the world believes in doing wrong. Everyone glorifies things that are very surface level, things that really do not provide you any value, and the things that actually matter are often overlooked. So if you can learn how to do the things that other people are simply not doing, obviously as long as they benefit you and they serve you in some way, shape, or form, then this is something that can dramatically change your life. When I stopped putting myself in a position to follow trends or just following after the next person and becoming an individual, learning how to live my life according to what I may want to get out of it, then everything around me suddenly shifted. And more than anything, I feel like what it boils down to is being able to think for yourself, not allowing the world to categorize you or put you in a position where you're following after the next person, but really being okay with living life according to what you feel is right, doing the things that make you feel whole, whether they're looked at as cool or not, whether they're looked at as good or bad. If it sits right with you, if it aligns with your morals and your beliefs, then just let it be that. And the next thing that I want to get into is waking up early. And I feel like y'all heard this 1,000 times, but one thing that I want to emphasize is that it's not even necessarily about the time frame. Yes, you want to be able to wake up early at a decent time so that you can take care of your business. But what waking up early does is it teaches you how to be disciplined. It teaches you how to be structured and follow a routine. And once you learn how to do this, then it starts to transcend in your everyday life. Once you start waking up early, you realize like, okay, now I stop procrastinating. I start being able to get more done with my day, because now not only did waking up early put me in a position to be self-aware and conscious of the things that I need to be doing, but my life is a representation of this sense of accountability that I'm taking. Me being able to wake up early when I don't feel like it. Me being able to do the things that, may not sit right with me naturally, but I'm getting out of my comfort zone and out of my bubble and I'm doing it. And then you're eventually going to get to the point where you may not necessarily need to wake up early. You may be at a point in your life where you're financially stable or your routine is a little more flexible, and then you can start to move differently. But that sense of discipline that you may have gotten from waking up early is always going to be in you. The next habit that I want to get into, and this one is very important, especially just, with how quick life is going, you need a daily routine. No matter who you are, you don't want to wake up on a daily basis and just coast through life, because at some point you're going to wake up and realize, okay, I've wasted so much time and I have little to show for it. But when you have a daily routine, you have something to hold yourself to. If I'm not accomplishing A, B, and C, then I know that there needs to be consequences to those, let's say lack of productivity. So just having a daily routine has always just put me in a position to be more organized. It put me in a position to get more work done. And at the end of the day, when I look back on the things that I've done, I've had much more to show for it, because I was able to hold myself to those standards and that routine that I had placed on myself. And I feel like a lot of people's problems may be lack of structure. They may not have that self-discipline in order to maintain a routine, but you can always start small. Plan out the first couple hours of your day and then go from there and constantly build on it as time goes by. You don't have to just fully dive in and tell yourself that each and every last hour needs to be strict and on point. Like, you can literally work towards that form of growth that you're trying to reach, by micromanaging certain hours of your day and holding yourself accountable to get all of those things done. The next habit that I want to tie into is reading. And we all know the benefits of reading, but one thing that I will say is that it's very good to switch up your forms of learning. Of course, it's good to read a physical book, but sometimes it's also very good to listen to audiobooks. And what this does is it puts you in a position to take in information in a different way. When you're reading, obviously, you're using your eyes and you're just reading the words off the pages, which is a good way to be able to visualize and take in the information that you're reading. But when you're listening to an audiobook, it's a similar learning style, but it helps you better picture and visualize what's going on because you don't have to set your attention on reading the actual words that's on the page. You could just focus on using your imagination to paint the picture that you're listening to, if that makes sense. So really just take the time. If you can't read long, you don't have to read for hours and hours of the day. Even like with myself, I'll probably take 30 minutes a day if I read a physical book, or if I listen to an audiobook, it may be a little longer. But you want to constantly feed yourself knowledge and feed yourself information so that your brain doesn't become stagnant in a sense. You don't want to ever get to a point where you're not learning and you're not taking information in, training your mind to think and view things from different perspectives. And next, I feel like it's very important to train yourself to think positively. So for me growing up, this was one of my biggest problems ever. Like, I went through a complete transitional period where I had to be very strict and hard on myself in order to get out of that negative way of thinking based on the way that I was raised. But if you can learn how to think positively, especially in times where it may be easy to lean towards negativity, this is going to completely change your life. It can be in work, it can be in relationships, and just in your day-to-day life, just being able to always fall back on that sense of positivity that you have at core will make the most out of a lot of the situations that you end up in. Because not only that, but people just genuinely want to be around good vibes and positive energy. If you're somebody that always has something negative to say, or if you're somebody that just lives through this sense of negativity, it's going to be very hard for you to thrive in business areas that you may need to thrive in, because nobody wants to work with those type of people. Nobody even wants to be around those type of people. And I had to learn that the very hard way. So if you can train yourself to lean back and fall towards that sense of positivity that you need to in all aspects of your life, whether it's good or bad, then this will completely change the course of a lot of the things that you have going on and potentially put you in better position so you can flourish business-wise as well. And one of the last habits that I want to get into is your ability to be able to self-reflect. Now, I like to view this as a summary. Back in high school or whenever college, when you used to take notes at the end of the page, if y'all don't remember, it's called Cornell Notes. At the end of the page, it was a summary. And that summary, the way I would look at it, is an overall reflection of what you pretty much learned and what you discussed during that, let's just say, chapter. So your ability to be able to self-reflect on your life and the things that you go through obviously would put you in a position to be able to learn and to gain a sense of clarity on the things that you may go through, things that you could work on, things that you could possibly change if need be. So when I put myself in a position to be able to self-reflect, it really just helped with that sense of accountability. Me being able to look back on my life and realize that things may not have been done the best way, and I can make adjustments in the future to get a better result. When you learn how to do this, then a lot of things will suddenly start to shift around you, because that sense of accountability can go a long way. Now, it may not seem like a lot in that very moment, but as you micromanage and you're able to gain that sense of control over your life, you realize that one of the biggest and best traits to have is just that sense of being able to look yourself in the mirror and hold yourself accountable. And I feel like that's what this form of self-reflection is. So you being able to do that will obviously benefit you in the long run, as far as a majority of these other things on this list as well. And all of these things are not even negotiable. They're a necessity as far as just trying to manage your life and grow in general. And the very last thing that I want to discuss is the importance of practicing self-care. Now, growing up in my life, with me personally, it was never a thing to, let's just say, love yourself, if that makes sense. It sounds kind of harsh, but it was never a thing to be conscious of let's say mental disorders, whether you're depressed, whether you're sad, or at least express this form of consciousness that, something is present. So as I grew up, I learned that, you have to heal from traumas. You have to be able to care for yourself and cater to yourself in ways that other people may not do for you. And the way that I like to look at it, you should consider yourself being your own doctor. Even before you go anywhere and get diagnosed, you have feelings, gut feelings, you have signs based on the information that you may already know or the way that you may feel. So you can kind of like pre-diagnose yourself with certain things. And that's how we determine whether or not something is going good in our life or something isn't. So with that being said, this sense of self-care will put you in a position to just be more conscious of what you should and shouldn't be doing. You have to care for yourself. You have to love yourself enough to want to take care of yourself and to want things to obviously go in your favor as far as your mental health and just your life in general. So never neglect any form of self-care. So with that being said, man, that's just a list of habits that I personally, and I guess you can consider them kind of like traits, characteristics, but those are things that I implemented into my life, and it dramatically changed the course of a lot of things. I feel a lot better, and I just carry this sense of positivity even in difficult times. So if you implement those, I guarantee it'll have the same effect on you. But I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.